Broadcasting from the Symphony studio in Marietta, Georgia, it's time for the Technology Harmony podcast, brought to you by Symphony Technology Solutions. Tune in every week as we spotlight the very best minds in our industry. Now, here are your hosts.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Technology Harmony podcast, brought to you by Symphony Technology Solutions. I'm your host, the social media marketing manager here at Symphony, Katie Galley. In this series, we speak with and learn from the top thought leaders in the technology space. In the Symphony studio with us today, we have CEO at the Palmer Group, Shelly Palmer. How are you doing, Shelly?
Pretty good. How about you?
I am doing awesome. Thank you so much for stopping by and talking with us today.
All good.
So, Shelly, just to kind of get to know your background a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about your professional journey and how you got the job that you have today?
Oh, no one has time for that. But I actually started out as a composer, producer for music for advertising for television and radio, and spent the first pretty much 40 years of my life writing music full-time and producing music full-time. And somewhere along that journey, we started an ad agency and a production company and a technology company, and we built recording studios and then digital recording studios and fully tapeless recording studios. And it was, it's been a long way. Around 2000, the Disney organization purchased a patent that I had created for an invention of mine that teaches Open Cable Applications Protocol, or OCAP. What it basically does is allows you to play in sync with broadcast television. So you're watching Monday Night Football and you want to play fantasy football. If you're watching Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and you want to play along at home on your PC or on your handheld, that technology I patented in the early 90s, and Disney wanted it. So that changed my career because right after that, I formed the technology committee at the Emmy Awards, and we started the Advanced Media Technology Emmys as part of program to get all the UX and UI designers together and start this data-driven television world as a peer group at the Television Academy. And one thing led to another, and now we run a consulting company that deals with technology, media, and marketing, and we focus very, very heavily on accelerated digital transformation, which is the thrust of our business. And though I still write music every day and compose every day, and enjoy that very much, my professional career has shifted to now working with big corporations, mostly Fortune 500 companies, and dealing with how to quickly transform their organizations. We call it accelerated digital transformation. That's the whole story in under 2 minutes.
Wow. I mean, that is quite the journey. And like you said, you made a lot of different pivots along the way to ultimately end up where you are today with the Palmer Group. And so I know you touched on it just now a little bit with what the Palmer Group exactly does, but can you dive into maybe the different verticals that you guys address and just everything you do there?
Well, the organization is split. It's technology and solutions. And so we have a strategy group that deals with understanding the problems that our clients are trying to solve. And we have process and workflow to do mission, vision, values, consumer value proposition, value creation, to actually lay out the products and projects that you would want to craft for the organization to create value. So that's the strategy side of the house. The engineering side of the house is just what you think it is. We build stuff. So we built the first ever tapeless recording studios back in the early 80s. Digital was just starting, and we knew that if we could work without tape, without rewind, if everything was inside the computer, that this would open up a world of opportunity, and that accelerated our own transformation. And so we took what we learned from building our own products and creating the world we wanted to live in, to making that available to our clients. And so the Palmer Group is an organization that helps business leaders turn data into action. That's overarchingly, but we do that through this idea of accelerated digital transformation. How quickly can we take an idea and make it real, and fail fast, if you will, so that we can rebuild it, rethink it, and make it better. So continuous improvement by continuous adaptation of technology. And that's what we do. And it's been a great journey so far. This time in the history with COVID having the economy at its knees, and so many organizations and so many people with so many tragic illnesses and people dying and this terrible impact it's had on our economy, I'm a little embarrassed to say we've never been busier, because what we do is help save a lot of time and a lot of money, because that's what accelerated digital transformation is. It's this idea of, I need to build a way for people to access my products or services on the web. I need to have an app that allows people to interact with us. I need my customer service people to be able to quickly solve problems for our clients. All of those things require digital platforms. All those platforms need to be planned, and all of that planning needs to be done right so that it can very quickly be reduced to practice. And that's sort of what we do.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, with the nature of what's going on in the world today, I mean, with all those adaptations and what you do at the Palmer Group, it lends to that. And so Shelly, now clearly you guys are ahead of that, and you've been able to see all these different adaptations and really be at the forefront. So now, I guess, in the midst of all of the adaptations that you see being made, do you maybe see others that are going to need to start to be made, or have already begun because of the coronavirus?
It's kind of interesting. In the last 60 days, we've experienced something like 8 or 10 years of innovation. Think about it. You've got doctors that would not take an email from you because they were afraid of what would happen with either their med mal insurance, or they wouldn't be able to be co-paid by the healthcare providing company or the insurer for answering an email. Now they will do telehealth exclusively if you want them to, and the insurance companies are willing to copay. This was always possible. They just didn't want to do it because there were business rules in place. And boom, all of a sudden, 60 days in, every doctor will see you on Zoom or the equivalent. Movies are now being released direct to consumer. Major motion pictures. Trolls came out. Universal put out Trolls last month, and it actually made more money direct to consumer than it would have made in the theaters. AMC Theaters' response was, well, we're just not going to have any more Universal movies in our theaters. And Universal's like, really? I don't care. Consumers don't want to pay that much for popcorn and be next to people that are talking, possibly have COVID and are texting their friends. Like, I'd much rather be home, make my own popcorn, and not have anybody around me and watch it on my, flat screen. Or honestly, I'd rather sit quietly in my living room and look at it on my very expensive iPhone or Samsung phone with a great screen. It's like, do I really need to go out to a movie theater for $100 for 4 when I could see? So many things that didn't move, that wouldn't move because the business rules wouldn't let it. And the people that were doing it were making some real money and didn't want to give it up. All that stuff is like vaporized over the last 60 days. So the opportunities are unbelievable. The pain points are unbelievable too. I'm not trying to say this is all sunshine and unicorns. It's anything but. But if you are honest with yourself, and if you're in a situation where you're not fearing for your family's safety and you're not fearing for your next paycheck, and Lord knows there are so many people that are there, it's hard to speak about this in any kind of positive way. But if you are lucky enough to be in a position where you can do business differently now, there are no rules. Like, every rule has been pushed out of the way. All the big barriers are broken down. So where we had a good idea was going to die in committee, there are no style points right now. Can you solve a problem? Go. And that's what's happening.
Man, you're right. That is amazing what has happened in just the last 60 days. I mean, the advancements, and I mean, like you said, it's a response to what's been going on. And it's these things that could have been happening all along, but this really forced it to, accelerate it.
Look at us. We could have done this particular meeting, this particular podcast, this exact way any day for the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. But now everyone can do it. It's not just you and me. Yeah. My wife has taken her exercise classes in the morning with all her friends, exactly the way we're doing this podcast. She's not a technologist. It's not her interest, and it's not her business. But it took her less than a week to figure out how to get to her exercise class with her friends using technology. And it took her instructor less than a minute to figure out how to get everyone to Venmo the $20 a class to her. And she's running her own gym basically out of her bedroom. And she's got a full gym full of people. There were 50 people in that high interval training class this morning when I walked by the big screen TV in the middle of our den. And there's my wife doing her thing with her weights and all that. It's like, wow, all these women were in this class killing it. And the instructor was like calling them out by name and, saying, raise your left arm a little more, your back isn't straight, like really personalized level of instruction. So is it the same as being in the same room? I don't know. I mean, I can't say that it's a better or worse experience, but that level of adaptation was under 2 months. And now it's just a thing they do all the time. And you have to respect the speed of that innovation.
Yes, absolutely. It's crazy. And Shelly, I know too that you touch on a lot of your own insights and advice and just your own takes on things in your Think About This blog and podcast. So can you talk a little bit about how that came about and what you aim to accomplish through it?
The number one thing that we try to do every day is add as much value to our audience's life or our community's life as we can. What our philosophy has been, what my philosophy has been from the day I got into business, is that if you are valuable to others and you make sure that you are always bringing something meaningful, then the karma police will take care of absolutely everything, which is what's happened in my career. So we have a daily newsletter. It goes out to roughly 650,000 people a day. And I started it with 40 people on my mailing list in 1996. And every day I sit down and I just write what I think. I take the 4 or 5 or 10 nowadays news items that I think are really important, and I put them in order. And then whatever the most important story of the day is, I try to add as much insight and value in an editorial way as I can. So, okay, so-and-so just got fired, therefore, or so-and-so just won the election, therefore taxes are going to go up. Okay, maybe that's true, maybe that's false. What does that mean? So the idea is to add context to the facts from our perspective. So we do that in a daily newsletter. I do that to a consumer audience. I do that on Fox 5's Good Day New York every Tuesday and a couple times a week in the 10 o'clock news. I do that on CNN for Quest Means Business and World Business Today on CNN and on CNN. And then we have a really interesting thing we started right at the beginning of March. Mobile World Congress was going to be canceled, and it's one of my favorite shows to go to. It's in Barcelona every year, and it's where the whole mobile phone industry gets together. And we do a very big install and a really big presence at CES. We also do Cannes Lion, and we do South by, and all of these shows. We just finished CES because January is when CES is. Mobile World was supposed to be next, then National Association of Broadcasters, NAB. All these shows were getting canceled. We were really sad about that because one of the nicest things about these shows is the people that come together. Sure, you get to see new technology, but if you're honest with yourself, you go online and see the tech. It's not, and someone will send you a demo or do a video with you and show you the technology. Mm-hmm. What's wonderful about these trade shows is getting together with everybody and having the opportunity to see people that you don't ordinarily get to see. So we tried to solve for that, and we built a network, a social network called PGX. Now, PGX is a product that we have. It's the Palmer Group Accelerator, and it's not only is it a digital product, it's actually a suite of digital products, but it's also like a set of workflows and workshops. So PGX is a kind of a comprehensive approach to accelerating digital transformation. So we had the underpinnings of this network ready. And I just opened it up and said, look, we're going to build an invitation-only, anti-Facebook, anti-LinkedIn, anti-Twitter. There's going to be no cursing. There's going to be open season on ideas, but you're never allowed to attack a person. It's like you can say, what Shelly did yesterday was idiotic. That's fine. Shelly is an idiot. Unacceptable. It may be true, but it's unacceptable. and so today we exceeded 2,500 members in a little less than 6 weeks. And it's really this wonderful place where people are having very high level Socratic discussions. They are taking the topics of the day across all disciplines, 5G and Internet of Things and autonomous vehicles and COVID and what's happening, reopening, business processes across the board, marketing, MarTech, ad tech, all of the kind of data analysis that you would do in research, big data, artificial intelligence, machine learning across the board. And all of these are being spoken about at the highest level. And people are really exploring ideas in a way that it's not possible inside of a Facebook or a Twitter where everyone's just yelling at each other. So PGX is kind of fun. And then our own business philosophy is that we are a community builder. So we constantly run these summits. Every week we're doing now, as you and I are doing now, we do our Invent the Future workshop on Wednesdays, which is by invitation. And we usually have 100 to 200 people. We break them out into groups and we talk about what's going on. We do a work from home seminar to help some of our constituents and our community members who aren't as technologically savvy and need a little help, because some people are still wondering how to hook this microphone up, hook those lights up, get the green screen going, get the lighting just right. I mean, there's some blocking and tackling that people need to know. So we do that too. Our philosophy is really simple. Add value every day, give something of value, and everything else will take care of itself.
I love that. It's a simple philosophy, but then you created this platform that allows people to do just that. And so, Shelly, then how do you not control that, but with, like you said, with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, you can go on any given day and people are attacking each other. And so with PGX, how do you limit that, or what strictures do you have in place to make sure that it is just genuine conversation?
The golden rule is what runs PGX. And
okay.
I am so amazed, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's a self-policing group. Once you set the parameters and people agree to those parameters, and it's not a rule base, it's a guideline. So think about it this way. On this line over here, this will get you the Medal of Honor, and literally the Congressional Medal of Honor. Go down in history as the greatest person that ever lived. And on this side, on that line in there, you're going to get court-martialed and thrown in jail forever. Like, you will be banished to the netherworld kingdoms or whatever. You're off the planet. Sorry, you're shipped to Mars. Anything in the middle is fine. Roger Ailes, may he rest in peace. A lot of people hate him. A lot of people think he was evil for creating Fox News Channel and whatever. I knew Roger for many, many years, and he was a pretty brilliant broadcast executive. He had a funny line that a lot of people quote and misquote. He used to talk about conflict of interest, and he would say, "No conflict, no interest." So I think it's so important that we have opposing points of view. Everyone lives in a kind of a strange echo chamber now, where if you're made uncomfortable by anybody or anything, you're going to delete them or unfriend them, or you're going to get out of the conversation. It's like, guys, come on. Like, when did we all become so sensitive that if someone's got a point of view, I mean, you may be for or against the current administration. You may be for or against a given policy. I'm sorry. There used to be a time when you could sit down at a dinner table and with people who you love and respect, have a disagreement, walk through that disagreement, and maybe no minds would be changed, but at least you'd understand why they believe what they believe. And you'd still love and respect them when you were done.
Right.
And life would go on. And I miss those days. And so that's what PGX is. And everyone who comes to the platform, we explain it just that way.
Mm-hmm.
So look, folks, if you want to do all that Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn stuff, then go there. No one's like, that's a great place. If you want to howl at the moon, then, write a tweet about your howling at the moon. And if you want to yell at each other and call each other names, there's so many great places. You go to Reddit. You can have a party at Reddit. If you want to be something else, go to 4chan. I mean, there's so many other places you can go to do that. But if you want to have a Socratic conversation where you state a thesis and then you argue on purpose to try and determine, well, I don't think you're right because this, and this. Really? I think I am right because this, and this. As opposed to, you moron. That's not me. No, just,
right.
Take the idea and poke holes in it. And whatever's left when you're done with that process, that's going to be the best idea that everyone could come up with, regardless of their points of view. So, do you want to have a bunch of people who look exactly like you look, hold a mirror, and everyone agrees 100% immediately? No. I want a young person, an older person, someone who grew up in a different background, different religions, different parts of the country. I want as much information, as many possible inputs, as many points of view as humanly possible. And I don't want to agree with them all. And in fact, I don't want everyone to agree.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, because that what that means is that something's really wrong. If everybody turns around and goes, I'm 100% confident this is going to happen, you're screwed.
Man, and that's incredible that you were able to generate this platform, and people are just, I mean, like you said, they're abiding by these strictures and these things.
Beautifully.
Yeah, just the way that it's generated, it kind of lends itself to that. And so, Shelly, where do you hope PGX grows? Are you just kind of organically growing it and see where it takes itself, or do you have aspirations to kind of come up against like a Facebook and an Instagram? No, where do you see PGX growing to?
It will find its own level. The most important thing isn't quantity. And, Carolyn Everson, who runs advertising for Facebook, has a wonderful, wonderful quote. She says, a like is not a business outcome. It doesn't matter how many people are on the platform, and it doesn't matter how many likes you get. What matters is about 50% of the members of PGX are on a couple, 3 times a week, contributing to a conversation that is moving the ball forward. And the idea behind PGX is we want to invent the future we want to live in. So it's a very optimistic place. It doesn't mean that the conversations are all optimistic. They clearly aren't. And when you go there, because you've got engineers and you've got marketers and you've got financial professionals and you've got policymakers, and they all have different points of view. And so while someone might be very optimistic about, well, we've got this great idea for so-and-so, it's like, and an engineer will go, yeah, that's an idea. Here's why it's not going to work. Right. So, and then somebody who's a different kind of technologist or a marketer would say, yeah, it may not work exactly that way, but it could work. So you get these sort of very interesting threads going on. The goal for PGX is to be valuable to whoever it's valuable to. And from my perspective, we serve a community. And what I've learned probably more in the last 8 weeks than I did my whole life was that the people that I know and the people that are gathered around us, my family, me personally, my company professionally, that is not only my greatest, most treasured asset, it's what makes me really feel rich. Like money doesn't mean anything now because if you have it, even if you don't have it or you do have it, you can't spend it on anything. Everybody's locked inside. You can't, you really learn what matters and what doesn't matter. So taking a walk with my granddaughters, or we're working on a dollhouse right now, which is like our summer project. We're like buying stuff. It's like, okay, I don't know that I thought that this summer I'd be building the dollhouse to end all dollhouses, but I'm getting an opportunity to teach both of my granddaughters about woodworking and about planning and about geometry and about computer science. And we're building it in a CAD CAM system. And it's like school and fun all at once, but none of that would matter at all. In the real world, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the 3 of us are sitting in front of the computer together for an hour at a time, 2 hours at a time, hanging out. And then we'll go for a walk and we'll talk about that idea. And it's that opportunity to spend time with my grandkids and my kids. And to a very large extent, my extended family, which is the community that we've built. So that's the power. That's the thing that I think was driven home or has been driven home over the last 6-8 weeks, is that it's the people that have checked in and the people I've spoken to. And, I get an email from somebody I haven't heard from in a year. It's like, Shelly, how are you? I saw your thing and I just wanted to check in. To me, that's wonderful. That's the silver lining in this very, very dark cloud. And to answer your question in a very long way, PGX is an extension of that. It's the ability to be together, to solve problems, to organize ourselves, to self-organize into a collective mind that's greater than any one of our individual minds, and go out there and solve problems, specifically solve problems. And I got to tell you, or maybe I don't need to tell you, we have plenty of problems that need to be solved right now.
Man, I really love that. And then simply put, it's PGX is just going to grow into, what it needs to become, serving people and people in turn, creating it and helping it grow too. So Shelly, if anybody wanted to learn more about you, get in touch with you, maybe become a part of PGX, where might they do that?
Oh, it's super easy. I'm one of the easiest guys to find in the world. First of all, I have this weird little name, Shelly Palmer, Shellypalmer. I really need to talk to my mother about that, because naming a boy Shelly was, when I was growing up, was not helpful in any way. But it's helpful now. So thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
You Google Shelly Palmer, you will find the first 100 pages are me, which is because no one else has a name like that. You can go to shellypalmer.com and subscribe. You can go to pgx.tech and you can apply. But the smarter way to do it is to just go to shellypalmer.com. If you're so inclined, you can subscribe to our newsletter there. It's free, of course. Everything we do from a community basis is free. And you can learn about PGX. We have a podcast called Think About This with Shelly Palmer and Ross Martin. You can find that on YouTube. You can find it wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple or Google or iHeart or Spotify. It's a top 10 business podcast. So we're very, very thrilled, Ross and I, to be part of that. We're in season 3 now, episode 4. We usually premiere our episodes on Wednesdays. So this week, right now, we have Chris Brandt, who is the CMO of Chipotle, and they are doing some job right now. And the episode that'll come up next Wednesday is Dave Kenny, who's the CEO of Nielsen, the people who do TV research and market research. So we've had a really interesting conversation because TV viewership is through the roof. So it's really interesting what's going on in the world of Nielsen. So you can go and subscribe to Think About This. We hope you'll listen to that podcast. You get the daily newsletter. Just come on and hang out with us. And if there's something we can do to help you, you can easily reach out and let us know.
Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. To learn more about our guest and their company, check out the show notes for the relevant links. If you would like to learn more about us here at Symphony, of course, subscribe to our podcast on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook at Symphony Technology Solutions and on Instagram at Symphony Tech Solutions. Here at Symphony, our ultimate goal is to make harmonious music out of all the technological noise. And we hope today's episode helped in doing just that. See you next time.